The difficulties and slander of a black woman who had just become a lawyer would change her whole life in a domino effect and start a chain of events that would inspire many people. Elena Washington lived her life as an African American in American society. She grew up in a small town with her family, and thanks to their sacrifices, she achieved great success and began working as a lawyer at a prestigious law firm in New York City. However, the racism she faced in the city and at work would affect her life and career in unexpected ways. Elena's family had made great sacrifices for her success. Her father, James Washington, was the town's only carpenter and worked day and night to support the family. Her mother, Grace Washington, was at home taking care of her children and doing her best to raise them in the best possible way. Elena had two younger siblings, Samuel and Olivia. Unlike Elena, Samuel was interested in sports and played on the town's soccer team. Olivia, like her older sister, valued her education and wanted to follow in her footsteps. Elena had been interested in reading and learning since she was little. She always got the highest grades at school and was well liked by her teachers. Her mother, Grace, did her best for Elena's education. She bought books from libraries and made sure that Elena participated in activities that would contribute to her development. James worked even harder to pay for his daughter's education. The Washington family showed great solidarity to help Elena succeed. After graduating from high school, Elena won a large scholarship and was accepted to New York University School of Law. This was a source of great pride for her family. Elena was a successful student at the university and excelled in her studies. During her studies at law school, she learned to fight racism and discrimination. She actively worked on this issue and took part in various student groups. After graduating from university, Elena started an internship at a prestigious law firm. This firm was known for its large and influential cases. Elena quickly stood out in this firm where she started as an intern. She won everyone's admiration for her hard work, intelligence, and sense of justice. However, some people in the firm did not appreciate her success. In particular, Richard Smith, one of the most senior lawyers in the firm, was jealous of Elena's rise. Richard Smith was a lawyer who had been with the firm for many years and had been successful in many cases. However, Elena's rise was beginning to pose a threat to him. Richard closely watched Elena's every move and was constantly waiting for her to make a mistake. One day, as Elena was working on an important case file, Richard walked into her room. "Are you really sure you can handle this case, Elena? I don't think your experience is enough for this kind of big case," he said. Elena remained calm and said, "Thank you, Richard. I am confident that I will manage this case to the best of my ability." The first weeks were challenging. Richard and a few like-minded people were constantly trying to put obstacles in Elena's way. One day, he found a racist note on Elena's desk. The note said, "You have no business here. Go back to your own country." Elena was shaken by this hostility, but it only strengthened her resolve. She went to her office and, after taking a deep breath, threw the note in the trash. At the law firm, Elena met Maya Brown, a minority lawyer like herself. Maya had experienced similar difficulties at the firm a few years earlier and was determined to support Elena. One day they met for lunch, and Maya told Elena her story. "Elena, the people here can be scary sometimes, but you being here, you achieving this success is a revolution. Don't give up," she said. Elena was encouraged by Maya's words and continued to work even more ambitiously. Despite the difficulties she faced at the company, Elena did not give up and grew stronger every day. As the weeks passed, Elena's work and determination began to attract the attention of other colleagues at the firm. One day, Elena was assigned one of the most important cases in the firm, a case in which a large corporation was accused of polluting the environment. This case was very important for the prestige and future of the firm, and Elena had to make the most of this opportunity and prove herself and the firm. Elena did extensive research for this case and developed a good defense strategy to defend her client's rights. However, in the meantime, Richard had put in place a devious and treacherous plan to thwart Elena's success. Richard stole the original case files and forged documents. These forged documents contained evidence that would incriminate the client. Elena had been preparing for the trial, unaware of the existence of the forged documents. She was too exhausted from her last review of the case files to notice the forged documents. When the day of the trial arrived, Elena confidently entered the courtroom, unaware of the forged files that would undermine her defense. Elena presented the files to the judge before she began to speak, and just as she was about to start speaking, she was confronted with the judge's warning. "Are you sure your files are correct?" Elena tried to understand what had happened with a puzzled expression and immediately went to the judge to check the files. She was shocked by what she saw and protested to the judge, "These files are fake. I have been sabotaged." However, the other side started to put a lot of pressure on Elena over the files, and she was unable to carry out her planned defense. Elena asked for the court to be postponed. The judge turned to Elena and said that the court was adjourned until tomorrow, stood up, and walked away. Elena had only 24 hours, and she didn't think she had enough time to prepare all the files again. She turned around and was greeted by Richard's sly and disgusting smile. Elena walked out of the courtroom. Elena left the courtroom and ran towards Maya. "Maya, these documents are forged. We need to solve this situation now, or we will lose the case," she said. Maya saw the fear and panic in Elena's eyes and tried to calm her down by saying, "Don't worry, we will figure this out." Elena and Maya started to trace the fake files. They worked late into the night going through old files and documents within the firm. In the process, they searched for evidence that could reveal how Richard had forged the documents and how he had carried out his plan. However, Richard had masterminded his plan and left no trace. Elena had to get through this, or her whole career would be over before it ever began, and she would never be able to work as a lawyer anywhere for the rest of her life. Elena went to her computer to retrieve her original documents, and her eyes popped out of her head. There had been an attack on her computer and on the screen in huge letters. "All your files have been encrypted. You will have to pay a ransom to get the password." Elena was sure that Richard, the man with the sly looks and the treacherous smile, had done it, but she couldn't waste time. She immediately called the IT department and explained the situation. The IT team set to work to stop the attack and recover the encrypted files. Meanwhile, Elena was exploring other ways to continue her client's defense. With the help of the IT team, Elena managed to recover the files on her computer. However, she was running out of time, and it was almost midnight. She now had a case file and a powerful enemy, so she realized that she had to scrutinize Richard's plans more carefully. In the meantime, Elena and Maya pulled closer together and did their best to find a solution. In the early hours of the morning, close to dawn, Elena came from the bathroom and found a file on the table. It was labeled urgent. When she opened it, she found a detailed description of how Richard had forged the documents and executed his plan. This file was the evidence Elena was looking for. However, it was unclear who it came from. Elena was going to present this evidence to Mr. Thompson, the company's top official, but she needed it in time for her trial. Against all odds, Elena confidently entered the courtroom with the original documents completed and with experts to prove the forgery of the earlier forged documents. She handed the original documents to the judge and called the experts to speak and prove the forgery of the other documents. Now, everything was as he wanted it. He started his defense, which he had been preparing for weeks, and convinced the jury and the judge. He won the case. It was now the most critical and challenging achievement of his life, and it was the turn of his greatest enemy, Mr. Richard. He grabbed the files that had been left on his desk and went up to Mr. Thompson's office and handed it to him. Mr. Thompson reviewed the evidence Elena had brought and immediately called a meeting. In the meeting, he revealed how Richard had forged the documents and how he had tried to sabotage Elena. Richard was backed into a corner. All his disgusting behavior was exposed. The firm immediately fired Richard and took legal action. Mr. Thompson turned to Elena and said, "Elena, I was hesitant when I first hired you, but thanks to you, we saw the traitors in our midst, and I realized how wrong I was. I'm proud to have you at the firm, and I'll always have your back." Elena was able to overcome all these intrigues and challenges. This experience showed how strong she was, not only as a lawyer, but also as a person. After that, everyone at the firm began to respect Elena more and more, seeing how hardworking and accomplished she was. In New York, Elena was no longer just a successful lawyer, but a symbol of the struggle for justice and equality. Her story became an inspiration for many young African Americans. Her perseverance, hard work, and courage showed that anyone can overcome prejudice and achieve real success. In this new chapter of her life, Elena was determined to fight not only for herself, but also for her community. One evening, Elena and Maya met in a cafe after work. Maya made a suggestion to Elena. "Elena, I have a thought. I'm planning to create a support group for minority lawyers in the firm, and I want you to be a leader in it." Elena responded with excitement. "Maya, that's a great idea. In this group, we can guide and support newcomers. By sharing our experiences, we can build a stronger community." Under Maya and Elena's leadership, the support group quickly made a big impact at the firm. Minority lawyers supported each other by sharing their challenges and coping strategies. The group created a buzz not only within the firm, but also in the legal community. One day, at a meeting organized by the support group, Elena and Maya gave a speech. In her speech, Maya said, "The fact that we are gathered here today is not only the result of our individual struggles, but also a demonstration of the power of acting together. No matter your skin color, no matter your language, no matter your race, each and every one of us is a fighter for justice and equality in this firm and in this city." Elena spoke after Maya. "Here, we all serve the same purpose. The challenges we face should not discourage us, but rather strengthen us, unite us, shine a light where there is no way out, and fight together for greater victories." Everyone at the meeting who felt alone, bullied, slandered, like Elena, was inspired by these speeches. Their broken hopes and lost paths were now clearer and more beautiful. The support group had made a difference in the whole city. People realized that physical inequality no longer mattered, that every person mattered. In this new chapter of her life, Elena was determined to continue her fight for justice and equality. She had made a huge impact both in her law firm and in the community. Her story has continued to be an inspiration for many young African Americans. Her perseverance, hard work, and courage showed that anyone can overcome prejudice and achieve real success.